Hey guys, it's Vincent with Vasco Toys. On today's episode of Action Vasco, I'm going to show you a rooftop piece that I made to serve as a centerpiece in a city skyline series that I recently did. I can't wait to show you the piece.
Vasco Toys. Action figure, dioramas, and props.
Let's start out with the measurements for this. This is 10 inches tall, it's 20 inches wide, and it's 17 inches deep. And this is a 1/12 scale diorama, so what that means is that 1 inch in this diorama would be equal to 1 foot in the inspirational structure. And I'm not entirely sure what the average size is of like a commercial building, but I wanted this piece to be large enough that, you could have Spiderman battling the Green Goblin, or Batman looking down on the city, kind of scouring for villains in the night. And I also wanted it to be big enough for those things, but not so big that it would be a shipping nightmare. The main structure of this diorama is made out of XPS insulation foam, also known as pink foam, but it does also feature some 3D printed parts, some plexiglass, and some vellum paper. I typically include a small 3D printed Vasco Toys logo on the bottom left corner of the front of my dioramas, which you can see right here. The cinder blocks on the exterior of the building are carved by hand using a T-square and an X-Acto knife. Once the cuts are made, I use a clay sculpting tool, which you guys can see here. Got this at Dollar General. And then I use that to further define those lines, and then I take my trusty ball of tin foil, which is literally just rolled up tin foil, and I texture the cinder blocks with that. For the decorative facade work on this piece, I turned to one of my most important tools, which is my Proxxon hot wire foam cutting table. Using this tool allowed me to create repeatable shapes and sizes for the horizontal beams and the vertical support pieces that you see here, right here, all this kind of stuff. I hot glued them into place after I used the Proxxon and I painted them. Then this entire diorama was washed with a nutmeg brown acrylic paint. After that, I applied several layers of dry brushing with different colors to get that sandstone finish. And I also wanted to show you guys that this piece is backlit capable. You can see in this shot just the front 3 windows, but that side of the building has 2. So those are also backlit capable. This side doesn't have any windows. As you just saw, this is a 4-piece diorama that includes the roof and then the 3 different wall pieces. And there are quite a few magnets in this display, which makes it a sturdy diorama that can be broken down and stored if needed, which is usually something that people who buy dioramas want as a feature. There are 5 backlit capable windows that include custom 3D printed frames, window frames. And once I have these frames in place, what I do is like I put an impression on the foam using the frame. Then I'll cut the window frame outline with a box cutter or an X-Acto knife, and I will place the frame into the foam, and then I will cut some plexiglass and vellum paper to size and glue, hot glue that stuff to the frame on the inside, which allows me to get this backlit effect that I'm showing you guys right now. The inside of this diorama is hollow, so like I said, it's only 3 walls, so the back doesn't have a wall, which makes it a really good place to keep your LED light to create this effect. When you turn on your LED light, you get this awesome glow, which can really enhance your nighttime ACBA photography setups. This piece has my first ever scratch-built rooftop skylight accessory, which Spider-Man is casually leaning up against in this shot. And the top portion of this is made of, I think it's basswood, which I cut using my miter box to get a consistent angles on the cuts throughout. And then the bottom portion of this is hollow, made out of XPS foam, and you can insert lights, which I have inside just slightly lit up, so that you can kind of get that glow on the skylight as if lights are on inside. After the structure of this was in place, I glued plexiglass and vellum paper to simulate the window effect for the skylight. I've also included some other accessories which are modular. We've got this little hooded vent that is 3D printed and painted with acrylic paints. And then we have another exhaust pipe over there that doesn't have a hood on it, but similarly, 3D printed with PLA and painted with my FDM printer. Here's an ACBA setup that I did using this diorama with the new skyline silhouette backdrop that we offer for sale. In this shot, we've got Spider-Man pursuing the Green Goblin, who's captured MJ and is attempting to escape the scene on his glider. All of the figures that you see here are Hasbro Marvel Legends figures from the Retro Spider-Man wave, which is one of my favorite waves. In order to achieve this shot, I had to shoot at a low angle to block Spider-Man's flight stand with one of the modular exhaust vents that I showed. I also had to use some torn up cotton swabs to serve as an exhaust effect from the Goblin's glider so I could hide the flight stand that was supporting him. I used a ring light and several LEDs that were covered with vellum paper to diffuse the lights, and I took this shot at a slight angle to help illustrate the chaotic situation that Spider-Man finds himself in. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Action Vasco, where we took a look at my first rooftop building in a cityscape series that I've got going on. So we are going to have another episode that's going to show the next building in this series, so I'm excited for you guys to see that. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so you do see that video when it comes out. Leave us a comment, let us know what you thought of this piece and what you think about the ACBA possibilities with several different rooftops put together in a scene. Really appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.